Welcome back to another episode of the 1% Life Podcast. I'm your host, Coach JT. This information is for educational and informational purposes only and is solely a self-help tool for your own use. I'm not providing medical, psychological, fitness, or nutrition therapy. You should not use this information to diagnose or treat any health problem or illness without consulting your own medical practitioner. As always, results of any kind will vary based on each person's unique circumstances, capacity, and work ethic. How many times have you been told what to eat in the past year by random people? Sometimes solicited and sometimes not. Trainers, doctors, dietitians, family members, co-workers, the Walmart clerk, the guy at the gas pump, other experts. What to eat to lose weight, what to eat or to cut out to feel better, supplements to add to improve blood sugar, things to eat or not eat to improve inflammation, how many grams of protein per pound of body weight to build muscle mass. Every time you mention an issue you have or a goal, there's an expert nearby that's going to tell you how to fix it with nutrition and supplementation. And how many times has that expert completely contradicted what the previous person told you? Their advice is completely the opposite, and no wonder everyone's so confused. And unfortunately, a lot of the time it comes from people in the business, people that you think should know. Doctors, dietitians, nutritionists, online health influencers, personal trainers, whatever. These are people that should know better, but they don't. Most of the time, it's very generic information that they don't even understand themselves. Things like eat this only, just eat this stuff and you'll be totally fine. Or cut this food group out altogether. Don't ever eat these things again and you'll be fine. Anything else you want, any amount you want. Or just eat 3 meals a day. Do intermittent fasting. That works. I'm not going to tell you what to eat. I'm not going to tell you how much to eat at those meal times. I'm not going to tell you a macro percentage. I'm not going to build nutrition for you. I'm just going to tell you eat 3 times a day and you'll be good. So all of a sudden, what everybody kind of does by default, gets up and skips breakfast, doesn't eat until lunch, and then eats before bed. If that really worked, by default, everyone would be fit and lean. What you eat matters. Or just cut your calories. People, you're eating too much, just cut your calories. Eat whatever you want, just, calories in, calories out. Okay, well, then so can I just eat cake? If I keep my calories where they should be, can I have, pizza every day? Or if you're trying to build muscle mass, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight and you'll grow. All right, well, so is that the same for the 245-pound lean bodybuilder or the 245-pound morbidly obese disease guy? No, absolutely not. Your requirements are different. Might not be enough for one person, maybe too much for another. May be great for one person, may be harmful for the next. Or eat until you're full. Carnivores are notorious for that. Just eat until you're satiated. You'll know when to stop. Okay, well, that's very dangerous. Most people have no idea when to stop. That's part of the problem. If you've been eating clean and training and you know your body and you've been doing it for decades, maybe you can get away with doing that. Or eat for your body type. If you look this way or your bone frame is this, then you need to eat this. Or blood type diets, or only eat meat and salt, or only eat veggies and be a vegan. All this generic advice. But they're missing so many components that it's never going to work in the long term. If all you want to do is get a little better, feel a little better, lose a little bit of weight, you don't care if it's muscle or fat, you just want to be a little smaller, then just cut out the garbage and move more. It's not rocket science. You don't have to do a lot if that's all you want to do. But most people want much more than that. If you want fat loss only, you want sustained fat loss, you want to gain lean muscle mass, you're working on some kind of disease management like cutting out type 2 diabetes, you want to optimize hormones, you want to optimize health overall, have great energy, eliminate other inflammatory and GI issues, anything super specific, you cannot do some kind of generic program and ballpark crap and expect great results. So let's look at a couple of popular diets, ones that people push really hard all the time, and just look at why they're ballparks. Let's start with vegan. Only plants, no animal products at all. But how much should you eat? How often should you eat? What types of food should you eat? What are your macro ratios? What about micronutrients? Are there things that I need to supplement so that I'm healthy if I'm eliminating animal-based products? You don't know any of that. Just stop eating animal products and you'll be great. Or paleo, it's only food types, not how much, not how often, not macro ratios. Is it for me? It's nothing specific. Carnivore does it too, only meat and salt. Just cut out all plant-based products and eat until you're full and you're good to go. But how much should I be eating? How much of it should be protein? How much of it should be fat? How often should I eat? Keto does it as well. They're not exempt. Just eliminate your carbs. And you can eat processed foods, you can eat protein bars, you can eat protein chips, you can eat, canned foods, you can eat lunch meat, all kinds of processed garbage. As long as the macros look good and you're not having carbs, you're good to go. Just pee on a strip, and if there's any color, it doesn't matter what you're eating. Right? You can kill yourself with pesticides and herbicides and fungicides and preservatives and have inflammatory issues, but your carbs look good. Mediterranean, only food types. HCG diet. Horrible. You go in, you get shots, and you eat 500 calories a day. Of course you're going to lose weight. Why wouldn't you lose weight if you're only eating 500 calories a day? You think it's the shots? Of course it's not the shots. It's because you're not eating any food. You don't need to go get the shots if you just want to starve yourself and lose weight. I can just stop eating and lose weight too. Is it healthy? Absolutely not. Same with weight loss surgery, supplements, shots, drops, illegal drugs. The problem is that 90% of this advice, 95% of this advice is all generic, one piece of the puzzle. That's like me saying, you know what, I'm going to build a house. I need you to go buy me the supplies. I need wood, I need shingles, I need siding, I need plumbing and pipes and electrical wiring and nails and bolts and concrete and drywall and toilets and sinks, the whole 9 yards. Is that enough information? Can you just get any size stuff? Any type stuff? Any amount you want? Screws, nails, doesn't matter. Any quantity, any brand, it all matters. It all matters. What would the house be like if you just went and bought some stuff, even if you got all the right material? You'd get back and you couldn't build it. It just wouldn't work. Or do you need more details? A specific list, exactly what you need, exactly what the brand is, exactly what type of screws and nails, exactly how much wood, exact lengths, what type of shingles, what type of siding. All of it. It matters. If it didn't, it would be just, go eat whatever you want. Does that look like it's working for people? Now, people will tell you initially that it worked. But I did carnivore and it worked. I did vegan and I felt great. I lost weight on Mediterranean. Well, how long did you do it? The average time for somebody starting a new diet, changing in nutrition, is 2 to 4 weeks. Health problems do not manifest overnight, guys. It takes time. So even if you do it in the beginning and get results, what's the long-term implications? And here's why anything works at first in the first place. If you go from the standard American diet, fast food, boxed cereals, high carbs, sugar, alcohol, processed foods, not drinking enough water, not getting any exercise, crappy sleep, all the stuff that most people do, and then all of a sudden you change everything. You cut your calories. You eliminate the processed foods and the sugars and the high carbs and the boxed cereals and the fast food and the junk. You start exercising a little bit. You start drinking more water. You cut out the alcohol and you get good results. Is it because you're doing vegan? Is it because you're doing carnivore? Is it because you're doing keto? Of course not. It's because you've eliminated so much garbage from your diet, it doesn't matter what you're eating, it's better. You weren't exercising, now you are. You weren't drinking water, now you are. You were drinking alcohol, now you're not. That's the reason. But is it optimal? Of course you're going to lose some weight in the beginning. Of course you're going to feel a little bit better at first. But it's not what you're eating. It's what you cut out primarily. But what have you lost? When you lose that weight in the beginning, what is it? Muscle versus fat. How much is what? How long is it going to last? How long can you do it? What have you learned? Do you know what you're doing, or are you just following some generic recommendations like cut out your veggies? How much should you be having? When and how do you make changes moving forward? Do you eat the same forever? Same calories forever? Can you sustain what you're doing forever? Are you willing to eat the way that you're eating right now? Probably very restrictive and weird for an extended period of time, like decades. It all matters. That's my point. You have to, one, cut the crap out, which is what most people start with. Great job. Very necessary. But you have to add back what you need. We need food. We need fat. We need protein. We need micronutrients. We need stuff to run the ship. Without that, you're going to be nutrient deficient and have hormone problems and lose muscle mass and feel weak and fatigued and sleep like crap and be depressed. And you have issues the other way. It doesn't solve everything because you stop eating the garbage. So here's the magic that nobody talks about. I don't hear anybody talk about what I'm about to talk about. These 4 things must be in place. If you want to optimize health, if you want to optimize appearance, if you want long-term results, I call them the 4 pillars. It's just the way I see it in my head. Imagine building a house on 4 pillars. What would happen if I cut one of those pillars off? Even if the other 3 are perfect and strong and in place, planted right, everything's good, everything else in the house is ideal, but you cut one of those pillars, it's all over. It won't stand. So here's the 4 things that have to be in place. These matter forever. They matter for everybody. They are the reason that I can't do generic programs and not put my hands on it somewhere. I have to look at the data and adjust everybody's macros individually. So here they are. This is the meat of what I want to talk about today. First and foremost, and in this order too, by the way. Number 1 is types of foods. The types of foods matter. This is what I call cake versus steak. All calories are not created equal. They're not the same thing, guys. Anybody that tells you calories in, calories out is all that matters doesn't know what they're talking about. It's BS. Types of foods. We need certain nutrients. We don't need others. Types of foods. Number 2, your total caloric intake. So let's say that you get all the foods right. Let's say you get a list of ideal foods. You're eating all the right foods. They're all perfect. How much do you eat? Right? What's your total caloric intake? Calories per day and per meal. And let's say you get those 2 right. Let's say you get all your foods exactly right and you have somehow figured up your exact ideal caloric intake to, I don't know, let's say lose body fat. So your calories are great and you got all the perfect foods. Good start. But you're still missing a couple pieces. What macro percentage do you eat? So of those total calories that you've got and with those perfect foods, how much of it should be protein? How much of it should be fat? How much of it should be carbs? All right, your macro percentage, it matters. If not, eat all fat or all protein or all carbs or whatever, as long as your calories are right. Calories in, calories out. Not true. And then the very last piece of the puzzle, once you have your foods right, your total caloric intake is correct, your macro breakdown is correct, so now you've got the right foods, the right calories, and the percentage of those calories as protein, carbs, and fats. The last piece of the puzzle is, how do you eat it? Do I eat it all in one meal, like some people say, and do OMAD and just have one big meal a day? Right? Let's say I'm supposed to have 3,000 calories a day. Do I just sit down and eat it all in one sitting? Even if I physically can do that, can my body use it that way? Right? I'm supposed to drink a gallon of water a day too. Can I just drink it all in a sitting? Well, let's say maybe I break it into 2 sittings, like intermittent fasting, and I do 2 or 3 meals. Can I get those 3,000 calories in like 2 meals? 3 meals and have 1,000 calories per meal? Can my body use that much protein in a sitting? Isn't some of it going to convert to sugar? Anybody that's done a keto diet before knows that if you eat too much protein, it converts to glucose, bumps you out of ketosis. So if you could use that much protein, why would it be converting it to sugar and storing it as fat? It's beyond the threshold of what you can use in a certain amount of time. So how you eat it. Those 4 things have to be in place. You have to eat the right kinds of foods. You have to have the right amount of food. You have to have the correct ratio of protein, carbs, and fats. And you have to have the correct portions per meal, meal frequency, and how you eat it. If you take any of those away, you're cutting one of those pillars. Everything's going to be off. Now, you'll be better than you were, but it's not going to be optimized. And I'm talking about optimized. The 1%. Look great. Feel great. Optimize hormones. Optimize energy. Be your best. So let's break it down a little bit further. Let's take the first one. If you eat the right foods, can you eat as much as you want, as often as you want? As long as my foods are correct. That's most of the diets that I named earlier, right? Just food types. So if I'm doing carnivore, can I eat 48 ounces of meat per meal? Should I eat 1 ounce of meat per meal? How much of it should be fat? Can I eat all fat and no protein one day, all protein and no fat the next day? And if you eat the right total calories, can you eat any type of food that you want? Like all cake or all pizza that I mentioned earlier? So as long as my calories are correct, I can eat whatever I want. Calories in, calories out. And then what about if you eat the right per meal macros? Right? You know your calories per meal, and in addition to that, you've kind of broken it down and you know how much should be protein, how much should be fat, and how much should be carbs. Do you eat 1 time a day? 20 times a day? 16 times a day? 4 times a day? What about food types? What about your total amount? Even if you're eating the right calories per meal, if you eat the wrong amount of meals, your total calories are off, right? Up or down. What about if you even had 3 out of the 4? Let's say that you eat the right foods, you've got your calories correct, and you got the right frequency down. Can you just eat all fat? Or 90% of it protein? Or 90% of it carbs? Or switch day to day and do all fat one day and all protein the next, and 50-50 one day and 80-20 the next day and all carbs the next day? Nope. Why? Because they all matter. They all work in unison. All 4 pillars are needed to support the other. This is proper, optimized, correct nutrition, not ballpark nutrition. Ballpark nutrition is okay for what I said in the beginning. If you just want to lose a little bit of weight, you don't care if it's muscle or fat, you just want to be a little smaller, you want to be a little bit healthier, you want to cut out the garbage, great. But if you're trying to take things to another level and really optimize things and really learn and understand your nutrition for long-term performance, for long-term health, to understand how you really need to eat long-term, it all matters. I mean, you can lose weight, half of it body fat, half of it muscle mass if you ballpark it. But you can starve yourself and lose weight. 75% of it plus is going to be muscle mass, though. You ever seen somebody that's lost a bunch of weight? A lot of it muscle mass, like somebody that takes Ozempic? 75% of the weight that you lose is lean muscle mass. Have you seen what they look like once they lose weight? You're 200 pounds, you lose 50 pounds, and 75% of that is muscle mass. What do you think you look like once you get down 50 pounds lighter? Skinny fat. Your body fat is a lot higher than it was at 200 pounds because you're a smaller human being with the same fat on their body. You can be a little healthier, doing a couple of things and ballparking things, but your results are going to be poor, frustrating, maybe not at all, but certainly not sustainable and certainly frustrating. I mean, how many times have you started something? How many times have you started some kind of nutrition program or a new diet or new program? You got good results and then it just stopped. Grinding halt after 3, 4, 5 weeks. And no matter what you did, you couldn't change anymore. It's one of those pillars or multiple of those pillars. If you want to be healthy, fit, jacked, strong, you want to be athletic, you want to optimize hormones, stay lean, have amazing energy, great sleep, great immune function, great sex drive, stay young, be playful, then they all matter. Period. Guys, there's links to all my programs, website, social media, free consult, and everything in the show description below. Scroll down, book a call with me, get in one of the programs, and I'll see you on the flip side. I'm out. For more content, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow me on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. See you.